I think people kind of forget how easy it is to be influenced by everything that everyone's doing. And then in your head going, I can't do that because someone else is doing it.
Yeah.
So trying to like unsee stuff that you've seen that you think is really cool and would look really like nice in your work, but going, oh, I can't actually do that. I think that's one of like the hardest things with social media sometimes.
Yeah. Definitely.
Here, I think the thing I struggle with, and I think you'd probably say the same because you're a procrastinator, is that in the evenings you go home, but work isn't finished because you still need to do all your drawing and any messages and stuff. And I feel like I let that slowly drip into every part of my evening. So there are evenings before where I'll get to like 11 o'clock and I'm like, this isn't okay to be doing
It's not
emails and drawing right now.
I think growing up, like I had quite like a minimal childhood. Like I never had like luxurious things in life and stuff. So I think now I'm just like, I want to work as hard as I can so that I can have a lot of the things I didn't have as a kid. And I think it's so nice to be in control of the money that you're earning and stuff like that. Like to be able to be like, you know what, I'm like, I can buy a house on my own. I can do these things because I've been lucky enough to be in an industry that has a constant supply and stream of clients.
Hello and welcome back to the podcast. I'm Alex Lloyd and this is a 21st century tattoo.
Perfect.
Action.
Yeah, you need
ready?
a little.
Yeah.
You need one of those.
What are they called?
Yeah, we do need one of them.
Yeah.
That's gonna be.
What
That's
are they? Is it called like a clapperboard?
clacker. Yeah.
You're a crapperboard.
Crapperboard.
We need to invest in one of them next. I think. Abi, Lauren, thank you so much for having me.
You're
That's all
welcome.
right.
It's
Hello.
really cool. Hi. Yeah, I love the space. Really
Thank
cool.
you.
Really, really cool. It's going to be quite interesting doing one with both of you as well. So
Yeah, first.
We did kind of say like we're probably going to end up
Double.
overlapping. And,
we're going to end up talking over each other.
yeah,
So
finishing each other's
Sorry.
sentences.
yeah, that's cool. Sweet. Happy days. I look forward to it. Right, let's go straight in with the guest question then.
Yeah.
Sometimes I've been like getting it in a bit later, but we're going to go in because I feel like it's quite a good way to understand. And I'll ask you both the question then.
Okay.
So the guest question was,
If money wasn't an object and they had no tattoos, who would they get their bodysuit by?
Oh, what's weird is this is so similar to one of the questions we said about doing. But
Yeah. I'm glad we changed our question.
yeah,
now.
it literally would have been the
It
same
would have
one.
been the same person. Go
Oh,
on, you go
it's
first.
so hard.
I know who I would probably.
I would say probably based on what I think is my like favourite tattoo, that I'd want to go for Aaron Anthony.
okay,
Just because there's not a single thing I would like. Not that I would change things about the tattoos I have, but when I got that tattoo, I think it was the first one that I thought like, this is really me. This is what I want on my body. But I set some ridiculous rule for myself at the start that I don't really want to go to a tattoo artist for more than one project or piece.
really?
Yeah.
Why?
Because I wanted to get stuff by loads of different people and
Fine,
learn stuff
okay.
from so many
Yeah,
different
nice.
people. So as soon as I got it, I was like, okay, now I've got to find someone to do something similar because I want my body to be fairly symmetrical by someone who does something similar, but not someone who's just going to copy his style. But yeah, I think if I had to have a whole body, I would go
Aaron.
from him. But that would hurt.
Yeah.
It was a bad time having my shin
Commitment.
done. Yeah.
So what was your worst one then? Shin?
The shin he did was the most awful 3 hours of my life. I thought I was just going to burst into tears at any point.
Oh no.
But it was also the first tattoo I'd ever had that I couldn't see being done because I was laying flat. And I think I was just
I hate
staring at the
that.
ceiling thinking, oh my God, I've got no, like, I wasn't really talking to anyone at the start when we started chatting, but I think that affects a lot for me. I think I need to be able to see what's going on, talk to the person, keep myself distracted. And
Yeah, definitely.
yeah.
You need to be comfortable.
yeah. And I think I felt very like, it's a cool studio, the Circle, but I felt very like, I'm just laying here and I'm trying not to think about this horrible stuff going on at my shin.
And how long it's going to be going on for. Yeah. I hear you.
What would
Yeah,
you
definitely.
choose?
Probably that guy I was on about earlier, that Dino
Oh,
Valley.
yeah.
I
Okay.
absolutely love his work at the minute. Like the leg sleeves that he's done on Blum,
Yeah.
they are literally incredible. If I could
Yeah.
start again, probably just go for that. Just because I love everything that his work is, all the pattern work, it just flows so nicely with the body. Like it's just so pretty.
Yeah.
Love it.
Nice. Love
Yeah.
that. But this is it, innit? You
Yeah.
collect them, you end up collecting them, and then have you
Yeah.
guys got space left for other people?
I think I've got loads.
You've got loads.
I think so.
Yeah.
Lots of little gaps on my legs, and then majority of my back and the majority of this arm. I think I've got quite a lot of space.
I've just got all the backs of my thighs, my hips, my bum.
Oh yeah,
That's pretty much it. My neck. I probably won't get my chest done, but yeah, probably my neck. And that's it.
Will you get your neck done?
Yeah, I do really want to get my neck done. I'm just so fussy now because I have so many that I'm not that keen on anymore. So I'm like really, really, really particular with who I get tattooed by now. So I'm like, I'm probably the worst client now. I'm probably the client that I hate. So
yeah, man, I find myself being like that. I'm like the client that I hate. I don't listen to my own aftercare advice.
I don't sit well.
Oh, we said that
I don't sit well
recently. Like, we tell everyone what to do, and then I feel like I go home and on day 3 I'm like slowly scratching
It'll be
the
all right.
surface. And I'm like, no one will know. No one will know.
When I'm like, don't
know.
pick it. No one will know. When I'm like, don't pick it, literally as soon as it starts scabbing for me, I'm like, oh, it's got to go. It's got to go. I can't help. I can't stop myself. But
it's like a reward though, after
listening,
going through the tattoo. You're like,
yeah,
slowly.
Anyone listening to this, don't take that.
Yeah, don't actually listen to that.
Literally. Cool. So, yeah, I guess I want to know kind of how you both really ended up here. Like, we'll talk a little bit about like Abla in a bit, but maybe just kind of your journey into tattooing. How long have you both been tattooing for now?
How long have you tattooed for?
I think I done my first tattoo in 2015. I think it was like toward the end of the year in 2015. So yeah, getting on for like 7 years now. Mm-hmm. Which it does not feel like that. Like, I still feel like such a baby in the industry.
Yeah.
I still think, oh my God, I don't know anything. Like, what am I doing?
It's changing so much all the time though, isn't it? Like, I started tattooing in 2018, and I think my first tattoo was towards the start of 2018, then just started doing little bits. But if I think about the stuff I thought I would be tattooing and the direction I wanted to go in then,
so
and now what
different.
tattooing is like, it's like a completely different industry, a completely different world.
Yeah. Even just over the course of like the last few years, you know? Like I've only been doing it, I'm going into my 6th year, and I just remember like it's changed massively, even just in that time. So for someone who's like, I had Tommy on previously and a lot of other artists before who've like been doing it way over 10, 12, 15 years, you know, and it's like, even before social media, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
What would you say is like different in the industry now to maybe how it was when you both first started? What are like the main things that you can notice?
I love the fact that everyone now, well, not everyone, but there's a lot of people that choose to go for a style, and that is their portfolio and that is what they build. And you're no longer necessarily pushed into or encouraged to do a little bit of everything. I love the fact that it's more focused, because I never understood at the start of my first apprenticeship that you were meant to be able to do all these different things.
To do everything.
No artist does every little different type of style.
Don't get Picasso doing everything, do you?
Doing dot work. Realism,
Just stuck to that one thing. So it makes sense for tattoo artists to do the same.
Yeah. I think that's what led to like people getting something by a certain person because they know that person specialises in it and has special like skills in that area or something.
And they know they're going to get a tattoo that they love at the end of it, instead of thinking, oh, I don't really know whether they're going to be able to do that well. So it gives confidence in each client inquiring with you as well. And I think that's what's really nice about the industry now, is that even if we get people emailing us for certain things and we just think it's not something that's in our portfolio, we would never do that, and we'll happily recommend them to other artists in the industry and just email back and just say, really sorry, it's not something that we'll take on, but we know this person, feel free to email them. And I love that we can give work to other people when clients aren't really knowledgeable on the fact that we don't do other styles. So I think that's really nice. Like, it's a nice part of the industry now. And
so
that has
important.
changed loads.
It used to be, it was obviously like it maybe still is a little bit, but very gatekept, you know. And before social media, it was like the studio kind of, it was the client base in the local area. So they did have to be able to do a bit of everything. And like people, you're right, people probably weren't very happy with a lot of the stuff that was being produced because there wasn't anything and it wasn't specialised, you know.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, social media's definitely allowed people to kind of see things further afield, hasn't it? And like, you've had a few clients that have travelled for like Ireland and things like that, which is lovely. Because but that's only because they can see your work now, and they can see that like someone's not I don't see that as
person's
massively
out
far.
there.
Like, yeah, if it's a flight or whatever, some people don't mind doing that or don't mind a long drive and staying over and things like that. So I think people get more variety on what they can have because they can see it online and be like, right, that's the person I want to go to.
Yeah. It's a portfolio, isn't it? It's a showcase of the work. Yeah. Sick. How did you both actually then end up tattooing? Like, where was that journey then? When did you realise that you maybe had a passion for art going right back?
Yeah, definitely. For me, I've always just been creative, as I'm sure most tattoo artists say the same thing. Like, always been creative, always wanted to draw, do art since like a young kid. And I'd done a few retail jobs and I just had no idea what I wanted to do. I was really stuck and I hated being managed by someone. It wasn't for me. And I ended up just working from home. I was just hand painting phone cases, selling them online. And then I actually got offered my apprenticeship, so I got really lucky. And I'd never really thought about tattooing before. It wasn't something that I ever thought that I could do. Never would have gone out with like a portfolio being like, oh, you take me on as an apprentice. Okay. So I would never have done it. And yeah, I started apprenticing at the old shop that I was at for 5 years. I stayed there for that long before we opened here. So I've only worked in one other shop.
Mad.
So
okay, fine.
Quite a sheltered tattoo career.
I love it as well because that's so different to what I've...
So different. Mrs. Shop Hopper.
Yeah, I literally feel like I got that reputation at the start. Only because when I went to uni, I thought I was going to do fashion buying. I thought like that was the most creative outlet I had at the time. Yeah. And I absolutely hated it from the second I was at uni. And I just started drawing more. Do you know what? I had a really weird uni experience anyway. I ended up living with like someone's mum in halls. Like one of the girls I lived with brought her mum. That's weird.
That is weird.
Yeah. From another country.
Yeah, they were from China.
Right, okay.
And it was a strange experience. But also on top of it, I just didn't really like uni life. I didn't like that way of life. And I didn't feel like I was getting myself as involved as you need to be when you live there. And the course was not as creative as I was hoping it was going to be. And then, just started drawing more. I'd always drawn in school, so I knew that was something I could fall back on. And then just started approaching studios, but actually online. I was emailing a lot of studios back here because I was living in London and I just wanted to see around here what there was for one, because I never had a tattoo and I didn't know anyone back home that had a tattoo.
Okay.
So I didn't know where was a good place to go or anything like that. Just emailed them, found some that I liked. And there was just actually one studio that really gave me advice back. And they didn't necessarily say, yes, you can come work here, but they gave me like articles to read and starting points. And when I responded and said thank you, they literally offered me a trial because I'd said thank you, because I'd responded to them and been like, thanks so much for all of the...
Do you reckon so many people just didn't bother replying?
Yeah. She said that people would ask for apprenticeships and then not respond when they didn't get the immediate answer of like coming in and having an apprenticeship. So I think that was literally one of the reasons I got my foot in the door, because I was just like, okay, cool, thank you, I'm going to read through all these articles.
You actually had the right attitude and they thought, you know what, she's actually willing to...
It was like a 10-minute read. It did not take long.
Yeah, good. Yeah, but that's good though. Like, how can you not?
How can you not want to read that?
Yeah, people are bizarre. What did I have the other day? Oh my God. What did I have the other day? It was like some girl walked in and was like, do you guys do tattoo apprenticeships here?
Like you sell them?
I was like, do you know what I mean? And I was like, even if I did, you're not having one. Fuck off, basically. Like, how on earth do you think that's the way to go around it? And
I don't know. I felt bad being not someone going physically in there. Like, I felt bad being the person that was emailing, because I knew that's not the best way to introduce yourself. But I just, at the time, it wasn't feasible for me to get, like, I was at uni, I didn't have any money. I was like, it wasn't feasible for me to nip back and go and show my portfolio to all these different studios.
Yeah.
But then, got a trial and started working there like a week later. Just quit uni. That was a great feeling.
Yeah,
it was really great.
It's so good to be able to quit doing something that you hate.
Yes.
Yeah, to pursue something that you love doing, you know. Yeah. But do you have your eyes set on that tattoo? Because obviously, if you weren't around anyone who'd had a lot of tattoos, where was that? Where were you getting that inspiration to kind of go, right, well, I want to kind of go down that route then?
I had always wanted them, and I'll be honest, at school I had said that I would be interested in being a tattoo artist, and just like...
So it was quite an early thing then?
Yeah, but like I just wasn't the person to be a tattoo artist. I was like a bit nerdy and like everyone would be like,
we both
you're
were.
not going to be a tattoo artist. I feel like there was other people in my class that they would be, but you wouldn't be.
Because they were like, cool.
Yeah.
The school bullies.
Yeah, the people that I would not go and talk to. But I think I was already interested in them. And then my partner was also, he's really interested in them, and he kind of encouraged it a little bit. He kind of spoke to me about it and was probably the one that said, like, you are just sitting at uni drawing, you're not actually doing any of your work. You might as well put that to good use.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, good stuff. And what about you?
What about me?
Yeah. Like, why that apprenticeship? Like, how did that...
I think I was approached because I was posting so much art online. Like, that was all I spent my time doing. If I wasn't painting phone cases, I started off drawing portraits. That was like the thing that interested me, which is just weird because I don't tattoo anything like that now. And then when I started tattooing, I then thought that I had to do like old school traditional, and I just didn't enjoy it. I think some people have a flair for it and some people don't, but I loved doing the line work side of it. Is that what they were mainly doing in there, was like traditional stuff? No. Like the guy that taught me, he was doing black and grey realism. So again, it was completely different. And you would have thought that I would have wanted to go down the realism path, considering that's what I was drawing. And I think after doing so many of those phone cases, they were all mandalas. And I think when I was doing it, I just got so sick of doing that I thought I'm never going to want to do that again. And then I just gradually, like, slowly started going back to it. And it was at the boom when like loads of girls started getting pretty tattoos, mandalas, dot work, fine line stuff. And it really, really boomed. And I just had so much of a demand for it. And I was like, you know what? I actually really love doing this. And it's so nice. Girls leaving, feeling like they've got a nice, pretty feminine tattoo instead of thinking I've got to get some bold traditional old school thing or like dark black and grey realism, because they were like the only two sort of styles that were popular at the time. So it was really nice to kind of be a part of like a new kind of phase in tattooing. And when I first started doing it's nowhere near what my work's like now. I was doing like really bold lines with everything. All my mandalas were so bold and just not what they are now. But yeah, and that was like gradually how I got into it. But in terms of like what influenced me, my mum's always been covered in tattoos. Like when I was younger, she had so many. And I just remember looking at her thinking like, you're really cool. But at school it was weird because all the kids would be like, your mum's so weird. Your mum looks really different. And I'd be like, but I'm used to it. Like, it's my mum. Like, it's no different. And now everyone's like, your mum's so cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Now you're doing it for exactly. That's it, innit? When you're younger as well. Yeah, so it sounds like you've kind of, you're at the right place, the right time in terms of that style. But also, like, you've obviously kind of refined that. Like the stuff's got a bit finer and, like, obviously more refined. I mean, both of your work is lovely. That's why I'm here having a chat with you.
Thanks.
Cool. So tell me about Abla then and how you guys met, how that all came together and the birth of the studio.
Do you want to go?
Yeah, I feel like it kind of started with me a little bit.
How old is it, first of all?
It's just over a year, so we opened in April last year.
Mad. Congrats, by the way.
Thank you.
Cool. What do they say? Like 80% of small business fails in the first year.
Yeah.
So,
didn't know what you were going to say then. I was like,
we opened.
No, and that's it. No, when you're over that, you know, like, and quite clearly doing well. Yeah. So.
Yeah, we opened, like, our open day was a week after everyone came back after lockdown. So we were setting up during lockdown, which was a fucking stress.
It was really stressful, but I am so grateful that it happened in lockdown because I feel like
we could give all the time and attention that it needed. Yeah. We weren't trying to tattoo between.
I think we would have gone crazy. Like, it just gave us something to focus on and something to work towards in time that we were like, do you know what? I know everyone had, but like we've done 2 lockdowns now. We're on the 3rd one. How are you meant to keep yourself busy?
Yeah.
And then the answer is open a studio, apparently.
Yeah.
It was weird. Like, so I think I just kind of knew that it was time for me to move on from the studio that I was at. It just felt like something was missing for me. And I think where, like, I would say I tattoo probably 98% women. And I tattoo a lot of young girls, like 18-year-olds, first-time tattoos. And I just knew that I needed a space where they would feel comfortable, where they wouldn't feel like when they're taking their trousers off that they're trying to cover up and in a room full of like other guys. And like, I know that it's scary. Like when I used to get tattooed when I was younger, like it's an intimidating process. So I knew that there was room for something, like a space to be created for that. Okay. And I think I just knew that me and Lauren got on so well. Like, I don't think we actually realised how well we would get on.
No, like
were you working together before this?
Yeah.
So I started working at the same studio in May of 2019, but we just didn't even cross over that much at the start. Like, you had time off, I had time off. I think we worked together in total, like leading from May 2019 to when we opened last year for 8 months. That's all we've worked together.
Yeah, that's like the only time we kind of properly worked together.
Yeah.
But yeah, when we first met, I think we were both just a little bit like wary of each other, and then we ended up being like, shit, we actually really get on. Like, and it was between the first and the second lockdown that we just got drunk at a barbecue, and I thought, fuck it, I'm going to ask her.
Yeah,
nice.
And I just was like, would you
Cornered
open
me.
a studio? Yeah, I literally cornered you in the car, didn't I? And I was like, would you ever open a studio with me? And she was like, whoa.
I was like, I just need to go home and have a sleep first.
And I was like, oh my God, no, have I come on too strong? And then you left me hanging for like a day, didn't you? And then in the morning she just texted and was
hungover,
like,
Abby. That's all I needed to think about.
You just texted in the morning, you were like, yeah, fuck it, let's do it.
Yeah.
And we spent ages like planning it. Like we found other premises, we got let down. It was like,
there's so much that goes into it.
Yes, you can't even begin. I wouldn't even be able to write the list out for someone else, I don't think. Because there's things I've mentally blocked out that I don't remember us having to do. But it was so much fun, like that early stage of going to look at spaces and thinking of the potential and like the atmosphere and what you can create and everything is so much fun. I don't feel like I ever looked at it as like, right, we need a space that allows this.
Yeah, so what were you looking for then when you were kind of...
We were looking for the opposite of what we have now, ironically.
Really?
Yeah.
Which was?
We wanted one floor. We didn't want any, like we didn't want two floors. And we wanted it all on one floor. We wanted parking.
Oh yeah,
which
we were so hot on that.
Well, you got some there's parking over there.
Well, yeah, it's great.
Yeah, sweet.
What was the other thing that we wanted?
We wanted like a little outdoor. This is really specific, but we wanted like a little back area, didn't we, for bins and stuff? And we don't technically have that how we want it. But the thing is, every shop we found that had these things we wanted, then there was something else we hadn't even thought of that it was missing.
Yeah, it's always a compromise. It's like when you're looking for a house as well to buy, you know, like you always end up compromising on something.
And when we came and viewed this place, because this had been online for ages and we completely ignored it. Like, you did not want to come and view it.
I didn't want to.
She was throwing a strop, just being like, no, I think it's too small. It's not worth it. And she even came and like had a look in the window the night before our viewing, was just like, I don't think it's going to be good. And
did you not see the upstairs?
So
no,
in our
we
defence,
did
it was
not
advertised as just down here.
Oh, well,
we did not know there was an
upstairs.
upstairs. So when we came in for the viewing, and I was like, where do those stairs go? Like, what are they?
And then even the estate agent didn't know.
Oh, I'm not sure. He was like, I don't know what's upstairs. And we were like, okay, let's go and have a look. And it was just a corridor with loads of little rooms. And we walked up and we were like, we can fucking knock all this down and make a big
It was so
open room.
strange. Like, you've seen upstairs, it had 6 rooms up there in like a really weird angle.
What were they using it for?
It had been empty for 2 years, but before that it was a beautician's.
Salon type
Oh,
thing.
fine.
So I'm guessing they had like maybe like massage beds and different things going on in different rooms. But yeah, I wasn't keen at first. But the second we got in here, we were like, this has so much potential.
Yeah.
And we knew this place has been a tattoo studio before. So I can't lie, that was a big...
Yeah, well,
that was a help.
Yeah, you didn't have to worry about license then.
Yeah.
That's
and all
another
that
big thing.
like usage, is it?
Yeah, because the salon hadn't changed their usage. So it was still down as tattoo studio. So we were like, sick, we haven't got to apply to the council for any of that.
Yeah.
Which was just so much help. Considering lockdown and stuff, everything was delayed. Like, anything we wanted to do, we were like, okay, we've got to add on at least a month.
Yeah.
Because it's just so slow at the minute. No one's working. So yeah, it was hard.
And you talk about, I think you mentioned it earlier, you talk about comfortability being like something really important. Would you say that was probably one of the main focuses or inspirations for Abla?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think actually when we came and saw this place for the first time, one of the reasons we liked the fact that it was 2 floors is because we actually quickly realised that there's no way people can look in and see you being tattooed, see you like having the experience. Like, it is very contained up there. You can look out on people and like look at the day,
but no one can see in. Because I think at the old studio we worked at, like, you'd be tattooing someone's hip or bum or whatever, and you got clients that would just walk in at the front door and they could just see, and we were just like, this isn't something that we want for our clients. So when we opened this place, that was like number one priority, was making sure that everyone who comes in feels comfortable and leaves with like such a nice experience, and not being able to say like, oh, I didn't really like that, I didn't really feel comfortable doing this. We'll so do important. Everything to...
You could do everything right, but they'll always remember the one thing that like, you'd overlooked or whatever.
Yeah, made them feel a bit uncomfortable. Like, it sounds so particular, but we've always said, haven't we, that the like one thing that we don't like about tattoo studios is like the bathrooms. When they don't feel like clean or anything like that, and you go in there and you're sweating and you've just been tattooed for like 6 hours and you're like, I feel gross, and then you're in this tiny little room and you're like, I feel even more gross being in here. And we were like, we just don't want anyone to ever have a moment in here where they feel too cold or like too hot or like not clean, not like comfortable in the area.
Yeah, like a big thing for us was someone being able to like mid-tattoo, be able to go to the toilet, have a freshen up, like we've got deodorant in there, like all women's sanitary products, like everything, because it like we just wanted anyone to be able to go in and make themselves feel fresh like halfway through, because sometimes you do feel like you've literally been dragged through a bush backwards mid-tattoo, because you're like, oh, this is awful.
And you're in pain, you're tired, and for sure. Well, you've definitely achieved that, and like I mean, I don't know how many blokes you get in here, but I feel comfortable in
the occasional guy. So it's what we don't tattoo men.
So it doesn't feel like over the top girly, and like I don't feel not welcome. So it's cool. Yeah, sweet. I like it. I like what you've done. And what about like the inspiration for the decor and stuff? Who was that?
I think that was a bit of a mixture, really.
Both of us, wasn't it? Yeah. We didn't really... I think the decor was like a big thing that we were like, it's so important because we don't want to be sick of it in like a year or something.
Yeah.
And
we
colours, we debated so much, and we were just like, just keep it neutral, keep it like nice and calm and relaxing. I think that was like the main thing, just relaxation. And that's like with this
warm
room,
it's got like a warm lighting, really the like browns and nudes and stuff.
Like
we quite like the fact that the browns and everything upstairs as well, like the colours used in our logo and our rainbow and everything are kind of all the different colours of like skin tones. So we kind of like that link.
And like even down here, we just wanted... Because obviously when you go to a tattoo, like you've been on a train or you've been driving in traffic, you get stressed and you're like, oh, like you just want to come in and sit for 5 minutes and just unwind for a second. That's why we love having down here. Like so many people would think, what a waste of space. Like,
oh no, not at all.
But it's so vital.
We found it really important. Like even when in the middle of the day, if a client you can just tell is at that peak where they need a refresh, and they can come downstairs and eat their lunch either here or like on the sofa and just chill out. We find it makes quite a big difference not being around other people still being tattooed. That sound or like just that atmosphere of other people being in still the distress sometimes that comes with tattooing. It's just nice to have a little break.
So important. It's worlds. I mean, I had a very traditional apprenticeship, and I was like, I started in like a real 90s biker studio because I thought that was about the only thing that there was, and it was like dark and dingy. And it's like you can hear coil machines in the background stinking of Dettol. There's like like wall, like those things you used to get in HMV where you'd go through all of the those big A2
all the flash
flipper things. I don't know what they're called, but like full of flash and like rows of chairs. Like it was so bad. It looked like a cinema. It was so crazy stuff.
They're always like primary school chairs that are really not comfy.
They literally are. So to come into somewhere like this, like, and I'm all about people kind of just pushing the boundaries of it. I think clients can see that, and it's like really appreciated. Talk to me a little bit about then who you've got working here and how you went about finding those artists and all that sort of stuff.
Okay.
I mean, our first ever guest artist was Nikki, who we already kind of were friends with her online. We wrote a list of guests.
Spoke like during lockdown and stuff to her, hadn't we? Like online, and then we were like, oh, we've both been speaking to her. Like,
are we kind of friends? I suppose you kind of are. Like if you've spoken to a little bit on Instagram.
I feel like that's like one of the most important things first, isn't it? Is to be able to get on with the person.
It's really important. And the second she came, we were like, it just seems like you just fit
felt natural. Like we just clicked with her. And she's done a few guests, hasn't she? And we're just like, we just love you so much.
She's starting in October. So she's not actually technically started yet. But I feel like that's a good example of how like we like meeting artists and like you say, checking that they get on with the right vibe and everything.
Brit We used to work with her at our old studio, and she just couldn't live without us.
No,
Bless
and we
her.
couldn't live without her.
No. So she came with us as well. Yeah.
Yeah, nice. Guest-wise, who have you got lined up? You got anyone kind of on the way coming in?
We've
Heidi.
We've got Heidi in
K.
October. That's our last where we've got Nikki joining. We're trying to like work out the dynamic because we've also got Sarah, and Sarah does like completely different style of work, and we all just have worked out we click.
Yeah.
I think it's when you're adding new people and even just guests come in, when there's more people, that becomes a more intricate puzzle.
Yeah,
so
it's a lot.
We've only got Heidi now, haven't we? And then
I think we said that we wanted a little bit of a break with guests, just because I think we always want to make sure that guests feel as integrated with us as possible, and like we want to go out for food with them and stuff like that. And I think if you have too many one after the other, you don't want to kind of lose that experience with each person. And I think we want to be able to give our all. And obviously coming towards Christmas, like we've got loads of stuff planned, haven't we? Like we always do stuff together. So I think it's nice to like just have a little bit of a breather from guests. Like we love them coming, but it does take its toll sometimes, doesn't it? Like
it doesn't feel necessarily like it shouldn't feel the same, I suppose, because you're around a different person, you're going to learn different things from them. Yeah. But when we have guests, we have time for them.
Yeah, and you want to make them feel comfortable, but like, yeah, you want, if they're not from the area, you know, I want to take them out and do all of this sort of stuff.
Yeah.
So it takes mentally, it takes a lot, as well as having to be working as well, flat out, whilst also making sure the studio's running properly. And there's a lot. Have you got anyone else helping you? Have you got someone on the front?
No, we have no receptionist. We have no manager. We literally do everything because we're a private studio. No, I don't think we really need one, do we? It's something we check in with each other occasionally and see if it's something that we would consider having. But I think where we're a private studio, luckily we don't have people constantly walking in and asking questions and stuff, and everyone just manages their diaries individually. So yeah, we don't need a receptionist in terms of like admin and all that, and we just kind of take care of our clients individually, which is quite nice. Or even other people's clients. Like
I feel like when people come in the morning, once everyone's clients are in, there is kind of a very good atmosphere between everyone, isn't there? Like we love putting the TV on upstairs and like choosing between all of us, including clients, like what film we're going to watch, or like what sort of theme day we want to have. We love a good film themed day. Yeah. But I think it's nice, like not having a receptionist sometimes. I think they can be so helpful. Yeah. But I think they make a detachment a little bit between the person you're going to have the experience with. Like they can be so useful, having someone bring your client in and do those admin bits to start with, but there's not really any reason why we can't do that ourselves.
It's nice seeing the artist welcoming you as soon as you come in. I think, like, I know that I like that when I've gone and got tattooed at other studios. If I see the artist as soon as I come in, I'm like, oh yeah, like nice to see you and stuff like that, instead of just kind of being welcomed by someone who's actually going to say hello to me and get me to sign a consent form and then disappear for the rest of the day.
Yeah, and not speak to you as well. Like there are some really, really cool like foreign artists as well that kind of come over on guest spots, but if they don't speak any English, then that can be a bit of a struggle.
You need that middle person.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So it doesn't just feel like a robot's tattoo. Yeah, do you want it there? That's it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's also a bit of like not similar, but there's a bit of a crossover in styles between both of you, which I think probably kind of really complements it. Yeah. But how do you guys kind of figure that out? You have pretty separate client bases, or do you how does it work?
I would say we do have separate client bases, but I think I love that some of our clients will get tattooed by each of us, because I just think it works, doesn't it? Weirdly, like we were saying earlier, like we've never felt like we're in competition with any other artist, especially not the artists who work here. Like, because obviously we've got Brit as well, she does black work, but we all feel like we do have like our own
different
thing.
Niches.
Like, I do so many flowers. Like I would say I'm predominantly like a botanical artist, I guess, and you do a lot more like ornamental bold
I would say I do a lot more of the bold ornamental stuff, and then but even like down to if we were all doing flowers in one day, they would all look so different, even if they were the exact same flowers. But I like the fact there are some clients that do come in and they've kind of gone, I want to collect something from every person,
from everyone,
which is really nice. But I think as much as our styles are similar, they have enough differences that people do look at them and go,
I want to be tattooed by Lauren.
yeah,
I
for
wanna be
this
tattooed by
particular
Abi.
design, it's going to suit Abi, it's going to suit Britt, it's going to suit
Or even
whoever.
if like I've had a client before email me and ask for something and I'm like, you know what, I actually think Lauren would do so much like little pet portraits and stuff. You do quite a lot of little
I like
ones,
doing
don't
those.
you? And I'll do them. I'm happy to do them, but I know that Lauren's probably going to do a better job than me, so I'll pass them on to you.
Yeah, but it's
like
good. It's
that,
nice to have the
like-
awareness to do that, you know. So I feel like some people get really kind of protective and it's like, no, it's my client. And then
Oh, yeah,
like
no,
this is
yeah.
that's my style. And yeah, it's terrible. It's a really bad attitude to have. And
Yeah.
like you said earlier, we're not all specialists at everything, and you know what I mean. You have to be able to kind of. There are other people that are better at stuff than you are.
Yeah.
Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's no fault in knowing you need to know your faults. I think.
Yeah.
sometimes
Yeah.
I was
in this
guilty
industry.
I was definitely guilty of kind of just saying yes to everything at the start, and
Yeah.
probably for fear of like pigeonholing myself, which is not necessarily a bad thing, but in my mind I thought it was.
Yeah.
So I was like, right, well, I don't want to just do this thing and then become really like my skills fall off in line work or
lose
in
where you
like,
could go elsewhere.
yeah. Whereas like now I am kind of just trying to be a bit more picky and a bit more fussy. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That being said then, have you guys got anything which you feel like is your thing, or any like what sort of project you really enjoy working on?
I mean, at the moment, I'm working on a back piece, which I'm really, really enjoying. I've only done 2 sessions, but it's do you know what? She's just an amazing client. She just has so much faith and is so chilled about if I'm like, oh, I want to try doing this.
It's just like,
Yeah, she's like,
my
yeah, I
heart.
like that idea. And
That scares the shit out of me though. Like,
but it's never too much freedom. She's got
Yeah.
the idea there. I
think that's scary.
Yeah, that would be too much.
When
She
they're
said
just
do
like, I have
I'd be
anything.
like, no, it's overwhelming.
Yeah.
But she's just really relaxed about it. So I have a vision for it. Obviously, I show her like an initial sketch and stuff. But I mean, when she was in last, I was like, oh, do you mind if I just cut random bits of this stencil out and like try positioning them towards the top of your back? And she was like, yeah, great. I want that gap filled, so do whatever.
nice.
Yeah.
And she was just really nice to work on. So I think projects where you are given a bit more free reign within the style that you've shown you want to do more of
Yeah.
Yeah.
rare and amazing.
They're the
But
golden
rare.
clients.
Yeah.
They really are. And then the good thing is then the more you do of them,
You
the more
then
people
attract
see it,
more.
you do attract
Yeah.
more, yeah. What about
Yeah.
yourself? Have you got anything kind of that you
So I'm kind of coming to the end of like this lot of bookings. So I'm getting ready to open my diary again. So I'm quite excited to see what people come up with. But at the minute, I think I'm just loving doing pieces that are matching but not symmetrical. So they've got slight differences, but I'm trying to like be a bit more open to new placements and stuff. So I think I'm quite excited to see what like flash pieces I could draw up or see what clients kind of what ideas they get based off of those flash pieces. So I'm quite excited to see what I will get in the next few months because I think it's very easy to kind of stagnate with what you're doing and you do a lot of the same stuff. And I have felt like that a little bit recently, haven't I? It's just been flower piece after flower piece after flower piece. And I love flowers. I love tattooing flowers, but there's only so many flowers that you can tattoo in 1 week. So it's really
that
nice.
are different as well and like referencing and
Oh yeah, you're gonna run out of references eventually. But I'm trying to focus on maybe going a little bit more pattern work, like that side of it a little bit more again, because I haven't had that much of the mandala stuff recently and I'm like itching to kind of do more stuff like that. So I'm trying to draw more flash, but it's finding the time like drawing flash.
Yeah.
When most of your client base is custom work, it's so hard.
yeah. See, I'm there as well.
Yeah.
Like, I've got so much to do. I've got the convention coming up and I need to sit down and get some more flash pieces done and like there's so much work to do. You find that like by tattooing becoming your job and drawing, you lose that free time for stuff.
Yeah.
It's
That's why
difficult.
lockdown was so good because you just draw. You do whatever you wanted.
Or do something else that was equally creative
that
as
was
well.
like
that
art, but like I tried so many things. I done like calligraphy.
You did actually. You like
Lino cutting,
just bought everything
printing.
online. And
Yeah,
did
people
I
were doing
literally
that
bought
live.
everything.
Yeah.
I think I bought every single art item that I could
Probably.
possibly buy. I probably spent like hundreds of pounds on
You
art
bought
stuff.
so much gold leaf. Ridiculous.
I did.
Nice.
I've done a lot of gold leaf.
Do you know what?
Same.
I also though kind of like mentally it was a bit of a struggle and did you find that you had maybe like a bit of a creative block at the time? I almost had so much time and no brief.
That you didn't know what to do with it.
Yeah. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and I found that whenever I went to draw flash, I actually just kept thinking, but I don't know how long this is going to last. What if this lasts months and I don't like that flash anymore? And that isn't what I then want to tattoo. So I'd go to draw something, I'd be like, that's all right. And then 3 days later, I'd look at it and be like, that's horrible.
Going in the bin.
Yeah, no one's ever getting that.
Yeah. You mentioned your bookings. You're going to reopen your diary. I wanted to ask you both how you work it. I think you do like books open, books closed sort of situation. Where are you up to with it? What's the wait list like? And why do you choose to do that?
So I try and do 3 months at a time. I think after lockdown, I ended up booking up like 6 to 8 months worth, and I absolutely hated it. I hate knowing what I'm doing that far ahead. I find, like, for example, where I just said, like, you stagnate with your work and you can't change where you're going if you're so limited to everything that people are asking you for. So 8 months at a time, it was too much for me. And I find 3 months is like a good amount of time for me to do what I'm doing. And then if I don't like anything in that style of work that I'm doing at the time, I can then go, right, let's reassess, change what I'm doing, and then kind of get new inspiration towards the end of it, and then put out new flash, new ideas, kind of see what other clients that you can attract with what you're putting out there. But yeah, I just find closing the diary and opening it and doing a booking form is like, it's just improved my admin process so much. Like, I think every tattooist hates admin, and you feel so guilty not doing it. Like, you're great at admin. She's like the biggest nerd when it comes to admin. I am absolutely terrible at it. I hate it. All my clients, they're always moaning at me saying, when are you getting back to me? When are you getting back to me? And I'm just like, I have no time to do anything. And I'm trying to like juggle 20,000 things in one day, and it's impossible. So I like when I shut my diary that I can just go, no, my diary's shut. I'm ignoring everything. I can't reply to you because I can't book you in. So sorry, I can't do it.
And you're so good at that. You're so good at being like, I have shut my diary, so I am not looking at messages.
Whereas you like,
as I'm like, I'll just still read them.
Yeah. What happens if someone drops you a message with like a sick idea and your books are shut?
I very quietly book them in and tell them to not tell anyone.
Nice. So you are still checking the DMs.
I swear them to secrecy. I'm like, don't you tell anyone that I've booked you in sneakily.
Love it.
Now everyone knows.
Yeah, you just let that cat out of the bag.
You come to me with good ideas and I'll book you in.
Sweet.
Someone will come to you now and you won't book them in. They'll be like, oh my God, my idea.
My idea's terrible.
And what about yourself, like the bookings?
I wouldn't say I'm that strict on like just booking 3 months and stuff like that. I get very carried away with I feel so much guilt if there's more than that amount of ideas that I want to book or I think are really cool, that I will just try and squeeze them in. I've about a month ago, I opened my diary and that's all of the bookings for the rest of the year. So I'll open it again in November and that'll be starting to book early next year because I'm meant to be away at the start of next year anyway. So it's going to be a little bit delayed. But I feel like I need that reset because I do admire the fact that you book 3 months at a time and you do that because you want to easily refresh what you're going to be taking on. I feel like sometimes I take on an idea because I do think it's really cool and then I do get to it and I'm like, okay, I can still approach this and I can still do it in a great way, but I've lost the idea I had when I initially booked you because my style has changed or my techniques have changed a little bit. But then,
and they do, like, and quicker than you think as well, even over like 2 months.
Yeah.
I think when you see what everyone else is doing in the industry, it's so easy with social media to just kind of see something and you're like, fuck, that's really cool and that looks amazing. Yeah. But it's so hard then not copying that. I think people kind of forget how easy it is to be influenced by everything that everyone's doing. And then in your head going, I can't do that because someone else is doing it. So trying to like unsee stuff that you've seen that you think is really cool and would look really like nice in your work, but going, oh, I can't actually do that. I think that's one of like the hardest things with social media sometimes.
Yeah, definitely.
Like unthinking cool ideas that other people have had.
Yeah.
Like you draw something and then you look at it and you're like,
oh shit,
that looks a bit too similar to something I've seen. But then maybe that is like just a first draft then. And then that goes in the bin and you start again and every time you draw it
a bit more.
Yeah, you're going to kind of put more spins on
of
it.
yourself
your
on
own.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I guess maybe then in order to counteract that, I guess you've got to kind of not look at the other stuff.
I try and not scroll too much on my tattoo page on the feed on there because it is hard to kind of ignore stuff.
It is, it really is.
It's nice when you don't actually look at social media for quite a while. It's nice when I have a week where I'm just like, oh shit, I've been so busy doing work and like looking after the studio and things like that, that you end up being like, oh, I've come up with this idea. Like, it's quite nice, like your brain just coming up with stuff instead of you constantly being fed ideas online.
I do quite like sometimes though going on the who you follow and the least interacted with, and just like looking through some of them,
and seeing them,
and just seeing these people that I think, oh
you
my
follow,
God,
but you haven't seen in ages.
ages.
And this is the problem with Instagram at the minute is like, it's just picking and choosing who of your followers it wants to show. Obviously, then the more you interact with them, the more it shows up.
Yeah.
But like, who did I have on here? Matt Stops on. He hasn't been posting on Instagram recently. I used to see his shit all the time.
Same, and I don't really see it a lot now.
Never.
I used to always see the videos of him stippling and like doing the
oh my God, yeah, on his
like
roses.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
that's what I used to see so much of that. And it's like, these people that I follow who are like, I think are sick, but I've not, you know, then the ones they've dropped off. And
it doesn't get shown in your feed. It's the algorithm though, isn't it?
Yeah.
I hope they sort that out.
You have to constantly go through everyone.
The second you follow someone new, I feel like that is all I see.
That's all you see.
All I see for a month, just that one person.
It's like, don't get too carried away. They're all right. But
they're good, but they're not like good.
You know
makes me question whether to like unfollow that one. But.
Yeah, it's so mad. So why don't we talk about like social media then, and kind of you guys are doing well. Like Abla seems to be getting there now, doing really well as well on socials.
Creeping up. Yeah.
How like, I wanted to like get your opinion on how important you think social media is right now with tattooing. But like for you guys personally and your socials, was there maybe a turning point where it kind of started to do really well, or has it just been a bit of a slow burn?
Oh,
I think our experiences are different, aren't they? With social media.
Yeah, definitely.
I think with me, social media has been a bit of a weird one for me. When I first started tattooing, I already had like a bit of a following on my personal account. And it was weird. Like when I first started tattooing, I kind of felt undeserving in a way of the clients that I was getting, because I thought they're only coming and getting tattooed by me because I've got a following on this other account that's not really me. I'm doing this for my job and I want you to come and get tattooed by me for my ability in it. And I was kind of worried about what other people in the industry would think.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to feel undeserving of what you're trying to work really hard to do.
Yeah. And you shouldn't, because your work like speaks for itself, you know.
Thank you.
But I can see where you're coming from.
It was weird. It was a really weird thing to kind of get used to. But yeah, and I got followers quite quickly on my tattoo page. And again, I found that really, really hard to deal with, especially doing a job that I was really unsure of what I was doing. I'm learning every day, and you've got that constant demand of clients, which is never a bad thing. Like it's never something that I will moan about, but it was very overwhelming in the beginning. And I think it slowly, like, it calmed down a little bit. It definitely like settled. And then it kind of just went a bit crazy again. I think when we opened the studio, it just like...
That was a boost.
It really like boosted all of our pages individually, like all of us that worked here. It was really weird. Like it just kind of went a bit mental. Like
I think there's always been a slight difference still between people that follow you and people that follow me. So the studio gave them that bridge of like, oh, they wouldn't have not liked your work before or not liked mine.
Yeah.
But it gave them that sudden connection a bit more. I would say anyway.
And with you, like, obviously it's not been as long maybe that you've been kind of building it up, but...
Yeah, I mean, there was one boost moment because one tattoo I did just went crazy for like...
It's on TikTok as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's been copied an insane amount of times.
Really, yeah. I think I know which one you're on about.
Messages.
The lady, women.
Yeah, like, so how did that all come about?
I just drew it custom for someone. Like, I can't remember it actually. It might
I'm going to put it on the screen there.
Yeah, anyone wants to copy it.
Here it is.
I don't know if it was Flash. I can't remember if it was custom drawn. I know exactly what client was on, and she has been the most understanding client about the fact that it's been copied like 30 plus times that we're aware.
It's almost really flattering, but like get lost.
Yeah. At first, I think she was very like, oh well. Now she's a bit like. But she's still very chilled about it, and I'm like, I admire that. But yeah, that really rocketed things.
It's like Brit with the Medusa one.
Oh yeah, that's gone crazy as well.
Brit's done a tattoo of like a Medusa head, and that went crazy, and so many people copied that.
We still get messages about that actually on the shop page saying, "Hi, can I have the stencil for this?"
Yeah,
oh yeah,
so
people ask me for stencils.
Yeah,
all the time.
No, it's custom. Go away.
Yeah. And I think as much as that rocketed things, I also found it really overwhelming because. Yeah, loads of new followers, loads of new interactions and stuff and people wanting things. And then, messages going, can I buy this design? And I'm like, no. But at the same time, it feels like you're turning away a client that you could be like, oh, but I can do a custom version. But I just didn't want to.
Yeah.
I think I've done a few similar women with flowers making up their body and stuff, maybe like 4 or 5 times. And now I just won't do it because it's been done. And I would like those people that have had those by me to think she's not just churning them out. So
for the sake of money.
So I wouldn't do one anymore. But it was nice that everyone liked it.
Yeah. Was it just right place, right time then?
I think so. I think it
was
wasn't
just
long.
the algorithm, wasn't it? I find that with Instagram though. You could post something that you're so proud of and you get like 200 likes.
Yeah.
And then you'll post something like I posted a healed photo of one of my clients with like her like really cool sandals on, and it just went crazy.
Yeah.
And I was like,
there were so many comments about the sandals.
Yeah, everyone's only looking at this because of the sandals. Like,
hello, is anyone looking at the tattoo?
Looking at the tattoo.
Yeah, you can drive yourself insane though, looking at this stuff and going, well, that got less likes than that, and that. So does that mean? And it's actually, as long as the client's happy,
there's nothing,
and you're happy, then that is all that matters. But we are playing this game, you know, where you're like, right, well, what can I do on TikTok that's going to get all of them like really getting into it? And
TikTok's a weird one. TikTok is like, I feel like my TikTok went crazy, didn't it? All because I posted a couple of videos of the studio saying like
that was lovely,
female-owned business and stuff, and us painting the mural on the wall upstairs.
Yeah, I saw that.
Video went absolutely mental, didn't it? And we have had clients from it, which is so nice. But TikTok's one of those, like, if you get a good video, it will just keep going. It'll keep going and going and going.
Yeah.
And I've not uploaded anything in ages, so it's kind of died. But yeah, I think I got like 50,000 followers in about a week, didn't I? It was so weird.
It went crazy.
So it's good for tattooists if you're that way inclined and you do have like the ingenuity
and
to
time.
make videos and the time, because it adds on probably an hour to a tattoo filming it.
Literally.
Getting all the different angles.
Yeah,
and
that's why I'm so grateful I've got him doing some video now, because I can like take a step back.
We need to get someone filming it for us.
Yeah, it's cool. It's good. It's got to be done, and it's just a game you've got to play.
Yeah.
So what I wanted to kind of ask you really as well is, which is something which I just want to know personally, like how do you deal with like the everyday problems and stress of like running a studio and like the working relationship that you guys have got? Is there like some things that one of you deals with and the other one deals with, and how does that work? Because you seem to have quite a unique relationship.
I feel it sounds really cringy, but I feel like it works just because we have each other. Like if I came in and there was a problem, the first thing I do is voice note Abby, and vice versa. But we're quite quick at making decisions as well.
Maybe we'll scream at each other and be like, "Oh, what the fuck? Why is this happening?" And then 2 seconds later, we're like,
sorted.
"Okay, yeah, we can do this now."
Yeah,
I think because we're like quite opposite in our approach. Like Lauren's very like full on, like she just wants to get things sorted, and I'm just like,
chilled.
I'm like a lot more chilled out. Like, okay, maybe we should like not do it that way, and like just chill out for a second and think about what's like the best way to do it. And I think it just works.
Balances out.
It's just weird. Like,
and we have recently worked out things that I'm more responsible for and things you're more responsible for.
That we've just naturally over the last year kind of, you'll take on doing certain tasks, and I've just naturally taken on certain tasks. Like if anyone needs ringing, you do it. I
was going to say, it's what on this task?
I do the phone calls.
You do the phone calls.
Any phone calls.
Any clinical waste problems, you're straight on it.
So you've got the phone voice.
Definitely.
Yeah, Lauren's the person who's like just, I think you are just a lot more confident in speaking than me, and I'm happy to admit that. Like I was always like so shy as a kid. Like,
but it just works that way as well.
But then there's certain things like I do more of like taking the photos around the studio and like pushing the social media, and
I think you're better at general DIY as well. If there's like a little thing that needs fixing, I'm very like who on earth are we going to ring?
Like the light.
Straight away I'm like, right, come on.
She's up there on the chair.
I'll hold the chair.
Yeah.
Or like just with the cupboard, I had to paint that cupboard the other day, and I was like, oh, I forgot to take the handle off, and she was like, oh, I would have just painted around it, and I was like, no, you've got to take it off.
You just do those little jobs,
just little things like that. Yeah, it just works.
Who's the one that like just doesn't take any shit, or is that both of you?
She's the little chihuahua.
Okay.
Yeah. You'll literally be like...
We've only had like one issue though since the start of the shop where I had to like
force a man out
manhandle a man out of the shop.
Why?
And slam the door.
He wasn't even a customer.
What happened?
He came in to talk actually to our landlord, who just happened to be in here because the landlord's not in very much obviously. But I thought he was my customer because I was waiting for a customer, wasn't I? I'd never tattooed. I don't get a lot of male customers, and I'd never tattooed this guy before, and I knew he was running late. He'd been really good at communication, and I just saw this man walking towards the shop with so much intent, and I was like, oh, that's him.
I was just in the kitchen just like mooching about like.
And I opened the door and he literally just barged into
shouting,
me.
didn't he?
And like chest to chest, like he was so much taller than me, but he was just shouting over my head. And I was like,
You were jumping. You were like, hello, my shop.
This is my shop. You can get out. And it went on for like maybe a minute of you just in the kitchen, like what's going on. I just thought I'm going to have to physically shove you out with all
What was
of
he?
my
Why
body.
was he shouting?
Oh,
It's
something
something about
completely
parking,
unrelated
like-
about parking.
Oh, right, fine.
Something to do with the landlord's land and everything like that. It didn't even involve us. But Abby just stood there like, and I was like, you're leaving. I'm going to give myself 10 seconds to get you out that
And
door.
she just pushed him out the door and was literally shutting the door on this man.
Yeah.
And I was like, whoa.
got there.
Lauren.
He was out. He was gone.
I love that.
And then just locked the door and stood behind the glass like,
Yeah, nice. Maybe on the flip side of that then, what do you guys do and how do you kind of really unwind and relax from and take that step back from work? How do you find that like work-life balance?
oh, I don't feel like, we've said this recently, we don't feel like we have a great work-life balance sometimes. I know I don't.
A lot of it spills over into personal life. And I think coming back to like the diary closing thing, I think I've been very good with like, when I know it's my day off, I don't look at anything. I don't look at anything work related. I'll spend time with my dog. We all do loads of stuff like
we do
on
loads of stuff
weekends and things
together.
like that. Like we make sure that we actually go to events and just like I think it's something that every tattooist struggles with is that work life.
Definitely.
Social life balance. And I probably only have like 20% social life. Maybe not even that, 10%. But I'm happy with that. And to be honest, like on weekends, I will just spend it laying in bed watching Netflix with my dog. And I'm so happy with that.
Love it. What have you got? What dog have you got?
A miniature dachshund. Little sausage.
So cute.
It's cute.
Yeah.
Loki bean.
Do you both live around here?
Yeah. Yeah, not too
close.
far. My partner lives in Reading, so a lot of my life is in Reading.
Oh, right. Okay, you're over towards where we are then. Fine.
Oh, where are you?
Well, like Guildford way.
Oh,
But you're
okay,
kind
yeah.
It's a lot closer than over
Than
here.
here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I live 5 minutes down the road from here.
Nice.
So I spend a lot of my weekends going there or we'll have plans. And I've got a lot better over the years of when I'm not in work mode and not here and I've travelled all that way. It isn't work time. It's definitely like just have a break. But if I'm here, I think the thing I struggle with, and I think you'd probably say the same because you're a procrastinator, is that in the evenings you go home, but work isn't finished because you still need to do all your drawing and any messages and stuff. And I feel like I let that slowly drip into every part of my evening. So there are evenings before where I'll get to like 11 o'clock and I'm like, this isn't okay to be doing
It's not healthy.
emails and drawing right now. But because I've already got home and got in my chilled out zone.
You think that you're
I think I'm chilling
not
out. when I'm
working.
not.
Yeah, it's
but
like
drawing on the sofa is, all right, it's chilling
you're
out.
in a more comfortable seated
But you're
position.
still
but you're
but this is it. This is being self-employed. You like everyone says, I'm going to become self-employed so that like I can just work when I
I can
want.
control my work hours.
And it goes
not
from a
like
9 to
24/7.
5 to a 24/7. Yeah. But people don't. You have to live it to understand it.
yeah.
And I feel like a tattoo artist, there might be other industries which are similar, but it's very unique for a tattoo artist in the fact that we all take the work home.
Yeah.
And some drawings can take like, I've had pieces that have taken like 5-6 hours to do. So like my whole Monday is spent drawing that for the Tuesday. And then I'm like, oh my God, I've not had a Monday either to myself. Like Mondays are just admin and drawing days. They're not a day off. As much as I only work 4 days a week, that 5th day is doing that.
Yeah.
Sundays normally. Today we're working technically. But Sundays are normally
Sorry
like,
about that.
Sundays are normally just my days of like
Doing
being
nothing.
a complete sloth, like don't move from my bed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Saturdays
Whereas
and
I've just
Sundays.
stuck a mic in your face. And so sorry about that. But it's good.
fine.
Like, I want to know really as well from both of you, like what or who is your biggest inspiration? Like whether that's a tattoo artist or just someone in general.
That's a hard question.
And
I
if
heard you ask someone else this, and I thought,
We actually did.
shit, what
say
did I
that we
say?
heard
And I've had like all week to think about this.
Okay,
and
well, I'm glad I asked
it's
you
a hard one.
I'm just going to sit back and
You're
listen.
welcome to go first.
I would say I have two areas of inspiration for my job because there is obviously the creative side, but like my work ethic to stuff is 100% inspired by my parents' work ethic to absolutely everything. Like they are so organised and hardworking and have instilled everything that they apply to work or their lives in me.
Yeah.
And I'm so grateful for that. Like when I first told them I wanted to do tattoos, I think they were a bit like, well, okay, we just went out for dinner. Like, why are you telling us you're leaving uni? But they were so straight away like, okay, if this is what you want to do, we're going to help you get there, which is obviously so, like, it's a luxury to have people to be able to help you, but they were always so supportive.
Yeah.
And I think they have inspired me in the sense of, if you want to be good at something and you want to be proud of what you create, then be proud of it. Like, get it to a level that you are proud of it and keep working to maintain that. And then creatively, I think it changes all the time. We say this all the time. We'll see someone that we think, wow, they're doing something different, or even just if we go somewhere. Like I said recently, a lot of the things that are inspiring. Yeah, I went to a spa recently and there was a few things I saw and I just thought, I'm going to snap a few pictures just so I don't forget. And then I really want to draw some flash based on it. So I feel like I get inspired quite a lot from things that I get to go do. And
yeah, like I think where I do a lot of floral tattoos, like I'll just go for a walk, and especially at the minute, like where it's summer, there's so many flowers out, and I will literally I'll spend like ages being that crazy person that's like stood by a bush just taking loads of photos.
Pictures of
and, like,
roses and
people
stuff.
will walk past me and they're probably like, what the fuck is she doing?
we went to that plant shop, didn't we?
Yeah,
in Soho once, and we got loads of photos of plants. We didn't buy a single plant, but we went there.
Yeah, but that's what it's about. It's about, because there are references everywhere. That's it.
I'm trying to think, like, artist wise, I think someone who I have like idolized a lot is probably Savannah Colleen. Like, just her life in general, like I love the way of life that she has. Like, she lives in a little cabin like out in the middle of nowhere, and I love just her style of work. Is just
her pets
so beautiful. Yeah, like she is, it's cringe, but she is goals.
She is goals. I agree.
And I think a lot of like my inspiration / motivation to kind of be better is like, I think growing up, like I had quite like a minimal childhood. Like I never had like luxurious things in life and stuff. So I think now I'm just like, I want to work as hard as I can so that I can have a lot of the things I didn't have as a kid. Yeah. And I think it's so nice to be in control of the money that you're earning and stuff like that. Like to be able to be like, you know what, I'm like, I can buy a house on my own. I can do these things because I've been lucky enough to be in an industry that has a constant supply and stream of clients, and we opened the shop, and like we never thought that we'd be able to do that. No. And we're sitting in it now, which
we
is
never ever
weird.
thought that this would be. Well, you said that you thought you might want to open a shop one day, but
you didn't think you were going to open a shop until you were like 40.
Yeah. I thought you have to wait until then, don't you? Is that not more normal?
I'm really not going to be tattooing when I'm 40. I think my back's going to give out by that time.
Yeah, I'll still want to though. Yeah, there's this conception that like, or misconception rather, that like when you're quite early on in your career, you just can't open a studio, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, no, good on you for doing it. Do you know what I mean? And kind of doing it your way. I feel like a lot of places are kind of going that way now. Private spaces.
I think it's like the future of tattooing, to be honest. I think so many artists don't like walk-ins. I think if you're lucky enough to be one of those people who has a client base, I think it's great to have a private studio. I think having walk-in clients can cause a lot of stress in the day. I think from my experience with walk-in clients, I think most walk-ins that I'd done when I first started tattooing, they were stressed.
Yeah,
I would go home like stinking because of the adrenaline going through me and like just sweating. And it was horrible.
Are you referring to dealing with the types of people, or are you referring to just dealing with drawing on the fly?
Everything, yeah. Like just being an idea being thrown on you last minute and you being like, oh, okay, I've got to try and come up with this. And yeah, I think in general, like the type of client that you get from walk-ins, I think they don't care about what you do specifically. They just want to get a tattoo and they want it now.
Yeah. And I get people calling up the shop and they're like, oh yeah, can I come in for a tattoo now? And like, it's on a Saturday. So
no.
But like, what do you think? Like, we're all just sat around doing nothing.
That guy that just turned up to the shop on his bike. This guy turned up on his bike and I was down here on my own.
I wasn't even here, was I? Because you voice noted me and said, I really wish that you'd been here.
I just had the weirdest experience. This guy just turned up on the door and I was like, I thought that we had Lauren Sparks guesting, didn't we?
Yeah.
And she'd said that her partner was coming to
help her pack all her stuff away.
Yeah, get all of her stuff. So this like older guy's knocked on the door and I've just thought, oh, maybe it's him. Like not judging or anything, but yeah, he was quite old.
He was a lot older.
So I've opened the door and he was like, hello. And he's just like literally stormed in and I'm like, whoa, like it's a private studio. And then he was like, okay, so are you the governor? And I was like, kind of, like, because obviously me and Lauren both own it. So I was like, yeah, okay. And he's just plonked himself down on the sofa. And he was just like, so I'm going to France in like a couple of days.
It was 5 p.m.
after.
on a Friday, and he was going to France at 4 a.m. the Saturday morning.
And he was like, I want to get 2 tattoos, and I want them here. And I kind of laughed, and I just went, what? And I went, what now? And he went, yeah. And I was like, I'm really sorry, that's not going to happen. Like, we're all packing up to leave for the weekend. Like, we don't tattoo on weekends. And he was like, oh, all right then. And literally just stormed. He went, I'll go elsewhere then. And I was just like, what's just happened?
He was just the most, like, we watched him back on the doorbell and everything, didn't we? And we were like, what a strange vibe.
Very strange. And I was just like, whoa, like just a little mini tornado came in and like went. That's such a condensed version of the story as well. But I was like, whoa.
Yeah, definitely. You get, I mean, I get these. What did we have the other day? It was literally only like a few days ago. And there was a woman just turned up literally just turned up at the front door, like almost like straight on the front desk, and was just like, I needed some jewellery for a piercing or whatever. It was like, so I was trying to like establish what had happened.
Yeah.
She'd like pierced herself. I was like, what have you pierced it with? So I can work out what size you got it in, like, on all of this sort of stuff. And she was like, just really rude. And I'm thinking like, you've just come into my shop.
Demanding
stuff. And then the weirder thing is, yesterday when I was at the studio, she turns up and she gives me she just comes into the shop, puts with the jewellery in a baggie, puts it on the front desk and runs out.
What? So have you still got that now?
So she gave me the jewellery back in a baggie.
That's weird.
Without saying anything, and fucked off. And I'm like, so what are you expecting? So what? Why have you? First of all, did it not fit? And it probably didn't fit because you didn't let me tell you the size, and then you're probably embarrassed. That's why it ran off.
I'd have been like, you can give me some explanation.
Yeah, I need some context.
So, and the moral of the story is people are weird. And
they are.
Yeah. So
you definitely meet a lot of characters in this industry. Yeah, everyone's so unique.
I've probably not given a very good account of that story there because it was so bizarre.
You're still processing it.
It's the same with that guy. Like, it took me ages to kind of come to terms of like what had actually happened. Yeah. I was like, oh.
Yeah.
Well, we had a woman come to the door here about piercings as well, and it was just me, a friend, and my partner actually downstairs with Loki, Avi's dog, and we were all just chilling, like I'd finished for the day, and she came to the door and she wanted me to change jewellery in her daughter's piercing. I said, oh, I'm so sorry, but we don't do piercings here, and I don't know what I'd be doing. Like, you don't want me touching that. And she was insistent for about 5 minutes. She was insistent. She was like, well, why can't you do it? She was like, honestly, it's fine. Like, just quickly do it. And I was like, but one, I don't have the equipment. Two, I definitely don't have the skills. Like, why would you want? I'm a stranger. Why would you want me touching it? She got very like. She just didn't understand why I wouldn't do it. I was very frustrated. It's your daughter's body, and I'm literally telling you I have no idea what I'm doing. And she was not happy.
Yeah. It's like, well, you've got a piercing, so you must know what you're doing. It's like, But I mean, it's nice that they trust us.
Yeah, yeah. We obviously give off a trusting vibe.
Yeah, that's it. Really, yeah, nice. Cool. What are you guys most proud of?
In our entire life? Or
can be.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
That's a big question. I'm really, really, really proud of the shop.
Yeah.
Like, I'm proud. I think I'm proud of just where I am now. Like the position I'm in.
Like what we've gone through to get to this moment.
Like, I'm proud of the things the journey, the things that I've maybe gone through that I think, oh, I wish that maybe wasn't in my journey, but it contributed to getting here.
I think I'm just proud of the fact that we actually did it during lockdown. I think to be able to say that money was obviously like a worry for everyone, and we took such a big risk opening this. We had no idea when we would even be able to open. Like, no one knew when they were going back to work. No. We had no clue whether, even when we could reopen, whether people could afford tattoos. We didn't know. Worry. We had absolutely no idea, and it was so scary. And so many times we were like, is this the right thing to be doing? Like, are we going to end up financially so worse off?
Yeah.
And it was so scary. But I think because we had each other, like, whenever someone was down, the other person would be like, come on, like, you can do it. Like, it's going to be great. It's like, it's all good.
Who is that out of you two? Who's the one?
We take turns. And I think that's what's so nice about it. Like,
it bounced loads. Like, there'd be times that you would definitely be like, oh, financially, like, you were great when we were setting up the shop of doing all these different, what are they called? Like,
Spreadsheet.
Spreadsheet.
See, I know what she means. Just
That means a spreadsheet. That's a spreadsheet. Okay.
Of like everything we need to buy, how much it's going to cost, where we can get it cheaper, all this different stuff. But then at the end of it, you would sometimes be like, I just don't know if we can afford to do this. And I'm like, yeah, it'll probably work out fine. Come on, let's just do
It'll
it.
be
Let's
all
get
right.
started.
Sometimes you just got to go in the deep end, haven't you? Do you know what I mean?
Fuck
Yeah.
it.
I think as long as you know that you can kind of afford the overheads, if it were a case, then take the risk. But sometimes you don't, like.
Yeah, we had no idea. And luckily, we did get really lucky and we stayed open and didn't have to shut again.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
No, and here you are. So, I mean, it's kind of strength to strength. If you could go back on the journey, maybe just in your careers so far or in the studio, is there anything that you change? And maybe is there a lesson that you've learned?
I think I'm such a firm believer in, I know it's so cliche, but everything does happen for a reason. I've had so much shit dealt to me in my life and I would literally not change a single thing about it. No matter how bad it's been, I would not change anything because I would not be doing this now. I'm trying to think if I would I don't think you get any benefit in life going backwards and changing stuff. I think we've seen enough movies of things being changed timeline wise that
we wouldn't be here right now. Do you know,
That's probably not good.
If I'd done one thing differently or you guys had done one thing differently, we probably wouldn't have ended up here right now. So
definitely.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy how it all works. And we're all working on different timelines, but intertwined.
All the little cogs working together. Yeah.
I do believe,
cool.
are you guys quite spiritual?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you believe there's a bit of a deeper purpose, and
Oh yeah. There's so much more to life than just us living our little lives. There's got to be a bigger...
it's just one great big
There's got to be a bigger
Yeah.
thing. There's a reason why we learn all this information. There's got to be a reason for it. We don't know it yet, but...
And what about yourself? Is there something you've learned along the journey? Like, what's kind of your biggest life lesson so far?
Biggest life lesson, I think I'm still learning, but it is definitely to along the lines of just not letting things seem as big as they are because they're not that big. I used to have very much a mindset of being an overthinker, being an over worrier. Yeah. And I had a friend actually who, and she would still tell me this probably, that always says there is no point worrying about something before it's happened because all you're going to do is worry about it twice. So I used to always think that if I was on edge about something, I'd go over and over it in my head. And now I think tattooing's kind of helped me be stuff nothing's ever as important as it seems. Just go to work, have a great time. You're going to meet someone really cool probably. Your client's going to be someone that you've probably maybe never met before. They're going to say things to you that you've never heard before. They're going to have a different approach to things, which is really, really nice. It's so lovely when we get people in that we're like, oh, what do you do? And before you know it, you've been talking to a whole room of people that you've never met before, learning different things from each other. And I like the fact that we come and do a job that should seem so permanent and worrying, but I actually think tattooing has really helped me worry less.
Oh my God, you can't think like that though, can you?
No.
Because if you do think that this is really permanent, it's like getting in a car and thinking I might crash. You can't.
Oh yeah,
you just can't have
the moment
that
you
fear.
think you can't know. And I'm
so
exactly the same.
self-destructive.
I tell myself after, because I stress out and I'm an overthinker and I worry about everything.
Yeah.
But actually it never achieves anything.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, but if I think about it just a bit more, I might find a solution. But the thing's not happened yet, so you can't. You have to deal with it.
Worrying about something I read a book recently. Probably a lot of people have read it, but it's called The Power of Now, and it just teaches you to be present in this moment now. Stop thinking about stuff in the past. Stop thinking about stuff in the future that hasn't happened yet, because you can't control those two things.
No,
they are the past is something that happened and they're just memories that you have in your head. So if you keep thinking about it, for example, if you do a tattoo and you think, oh shit, I could have done that better, or I'm not really that happy with it, just think, okay, I've learned something from it, instead of going, oh, I feel really stressed, I don't want that to be out there. And it kind of applies to everything else in life. Stop worrying about things that have happened. All you're doing is tormenting yourself by constantly reliving that past memory. And I just think, don't do that for the future either. Just
pull the lesson out of it.
Yeah. Just
learn from that, and
think what the next step is.
Keep going. Just keep evolving as a person. I think that's what life's about. Really.
I think tattoo wise as well. that I recently got tattooed like in the summer by Sam Rivers. And
I was looking at that actually. It's really nice. It's cool. Very bold. Sweet.
Yeah, very, very bold. But I literally love all that stuff. But I feel like I walked away from being tattooed by him with one lesson, and it was like, just focus on that tattoo you were doing then. Like I've had things booked in where I've thought, oh, this really isn't maybe what I feel like I'm focusing on at the moment. Like I don't know how to start drawing this, all of these different things. And then if you just focus on being in that moment and you're thinking, this is an experience for that person. They are, this tattoo might be the most important tattoo that they have ever had, or the only tattoo they're ever going to have, or a new experience. It's always a new experience if you've not tattooed them
had
before.
A bad experience previously, and
like your
putting their
focus
trust in you again
should just be on them and the experience they're having.
Yeah.
And like you might stop talking to them about something and realise that you've really got something in common. Like I've got a few clients that I've become friends with, and like if you just focus on that moment, okay, they might walk away and you think that's not a tattoo I would get. Or like, oh, in future I might draw it differently. But if they walk away and they love it and they can say that they've had a great time and like they're so pleased with how they've been treated, then that should be, I think, a feeling to keep you like moving on.
Yeah.
Amen to that.
Yeah, I love that. Okay, let's go in with a deep one.
Oh.
Someone asked me this the other day and I thought this is really good, so I want to get this on the podcast.
Okay.
And the question is, do you think that people like you for who you are or what you do?
Do you mean like outside of your client base, like general friends and stuff?
Yeah, maybe, or even clients.
God, now you're making me question my likability.
I reckon they do.
I think people, like my actual friends and everything like that, definitely. I think sometimes, and it's really rare, but I think you get the odd client that is in very like an idolising mindset of the job. But then I like to think that once they actually come in, and we're all talking about like
just normal
stupid stuff upstairs, having like a day of just chatting shit, basically.
We should have our own podcast of just the shit that we talk about in the day.
Yeah.
Because we cover some very
Weird
odd topics. Yeah.
But I think after that, then people maybe realise whether they're your person or whether you're their sort of person or not.
Yeah.
I think there's some clients as well that probably come in and think, oh my God, they talk so much. Like, shut up. But I don't know. I would really like to hope that people like me and you for us being ourselves and not just because of the job we do.
And I think it helps the fact that we do show things about ourselves online. Me less, but I'm trying to do it more.
Yeah, you are being better with it. Yeah.
I was going to ask you about that. Like, do you think it's important to maybe introduce elements of yourself? I know you do sometimes. I've seen on your socials. Some artists are like, there's nothing of them.
Invisible.
Like when we first turned up, like we were talking a little bit about how like you don't even know if it's a like male or female. You don't know who they are, like what they're doing.
Don't know who
you just see the work.
Getting tattooed by.
So how important is it then to maybe introduce some elements of yourself into your socials, or do you think it should be separate?
I'm a firm believer of I think you should show elements of your life. I mean, I have a personal account, but it's public, so anyone can see it. But with my tattoo page, I think it's so important to show little bits of what you're doing, because I love when clients come in and they're like, oh, your dog's really cute. And they talk about things I posted, like I stupidly let slip that I was buying a house online the other day because I'm in my fit of rage of someone cancelling.
But why is that? Why stupidly?
I didn't want anyone to know yet because it's not completely finalised.
Okay.
But I put it online, but when we done the flash day, I had like 4 clients come in and be like, oh my God, you're buying a house, like congrats. And they were so happy for me. And I was just like, it's really sweet when people do actually pay attention to what's going on in your personal life, because then it makes you more than just a tattooist. And I think it's so important to be you and not, I'm Abi, I'm a tattoo artist. Like, I'm Abi and this is something that I do, but I also have like all these other things that go on in my life. And I think since we've all been going out a lot more and doing stuff, I think like clients are like really invested in what we've been doing as well.
It's really sweet. Like if people come in and like, obviously we always ask people what you're up to, what's new for you. And we said that we've had a few nights out and a few weekends away planned, haven't we? And then clients will be like, what are you wearing? And like, oh, how long are you going for? Where are you staying? And then when you start showing things like that and you show more of your personality, I think it can help make people feel at ease.
Get better bonds with clients as well, I think. I just think putting stuff online, like you don't have to parade everything.
Yeah.
So some people want to keep stuff private, and that is absolutely fair. Like I'm not one for like airing dirty laundry and talking
My
about
account,
my life.
not
my
bad,
private
Maddie.
account is
Yeah.
like my personal one's private. And
I just think it's nice for clients to see who you are and what you're about and what you enjoy as a person instead of just tattooing.
Yeah.
Like, I think it is important, and I think it does improve your likability and it does help to get you more clients.
Yeah.
Because people are nosy by nature. People are curious and they want to know what's going on. They want to watch what other people are doing. And I'm
More
all
so
for it.
now that you can. Now there's social media, people want to see, and like
It's opened up people being able to see what goes on in tattooist lives, because like when we were younger it was like LA Ink and that was, I think, when tattooing kind of became something that people could kind of see into their lives of, and now it's like we're under a microscope, like people can see everything.
And that's again what
cool.
I'm even trying to do with the podcast, you know. So you can kind of, people can hear background and the sides of like a side of an artist that they might not have heard before, you know? It's so important. This is why people like influencers, you know, that's why it's such a big thing on socials now, because people do want to know what everyone's getting up to. And like for me, maybe I find it a little bit difficult because like the first thing I want to know with someone is like what they do for work, and it's like people aren't. I define. I mean, do I? Maybe I do define myself by my work.
By your work,
And like without my work, what am I? Which is, I think, is a terrible.
I saw a post about this like a little while ago, and it was like you need to know who you are without work being a factor, and I think a lot of people could probably do a lot of self-development if they kind of took away what they do as a job, because unfortunately it is something that we do most of our time. It's very rare that someone has the benefit of being able to do whatever the hell they want all the time. I mean, there are people like that out there, but most people can't, so you do end up being a product of what you do as a job. But I think it's nice to try and focus on stuff that you're not doing at work.
I think like society now, you are a lot of your job, because like you say, you are there so much of your time that how can it not become a massive part of who you are? But I think with this job in particular, there is an importance of knowing who you are outside of it, because you don't want to get that burnout. You don't want to get to the point where you're like, oh my God, all I do is my job. That's all my focus ever is, because that's when you will maybe, like I've heard artists say that they worry they're going to fall out of love with it and things like that. So you obviously need that other side to your life.
Have either of you ever got to that point where you burnt out?
Yeah, I did. At the beginning of the year, I had to take a month off.
How did that kind of manifest itself?
I think I just realised that I was like, I got to a point where I just felt like I wasn't putting my all into every tattoo that I was doing. And I think it took about a week or two for me to realise like something's not right. I'm feeling happiness a bit less regularly, and I'm not getting excited about what I'm drawing. And I kind of just thought, you know what, for the benefit of my clients, I'm not tattooing anyone for 3 weeks, because as much as obviously it was for my own sanity and mental health, but I just thought I don't want to be doing tattoos I'm not proud to be on people. And that was like the first sign of me being like, shit, something's not right. I need time away, and I need to just completely refocus on what I actually want in life and what is important to me. And I had like a couple of little like weekend trips away and stuff. And I think it just kind of refreshed my brain and just had a little reset. And I came back and I was so like, oh my God, I can't wait to tattoo again. Like I just needed it. And I'd so recommend any tattooist to just have some time out. Like you're having like 3 months.
Hopefully like up to 3 months off next year.
She's leaving me.
3 months. So
I've
what's
got
the
a
plan
man
for that?
fought for 3 months.
You got it,
I'm gonna be like, I need 3 months off now.
Oh, you'll
We're
be
going to have to
alright.
like each time just take 3 months off and never see each other.
Yeah.
It's like shift work.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it's like to run a studio. No. I think it's really important to have, I think I let myself get too swept up in it. If I'm having a great time booking loads of people in it, before I know, I'm like, oh Jesus, like
What have I done?
I haven't really allowed myself any time to do anything else. So I'm trying not to do that, but at the same time, at the moment, I am probably loading it on a little bit heavier because I'm going away. But then I know when I get back, that feeling of when you're like so desperate to get back. Like I felt it literally being off last week for a week, which is terrifying because when I'm now going to be away for like 10 weeks, it's going to be even more. But just that feeling, I think sometimes you just need to be reminded of what you're missing. And if you haven't done any drawing or haven't done any just interaction with clients and all those lovely bits of the job that we do really enjoy, then when you haven't had them, you're like, oh my God, I really need that. I need it back in my system.
Yeah.
What then to you guys maybe is success and happiness, and how do you guys define that? And do you feel like you've both achieved that?
I don't think you can achieve it. I think it's constantly moving.
Constant work in progress, isn't it? I think success... success is a funny one because I think a lot of people see it as you just making a shit ton of money. But money doesn't bring happiness. You could be the richest person on earth and still not be happy.
Yeah,
of course.
I don't define success as that. I mean, I would like to say that we are both successful at the minute.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say I've reached like final boss mode.
I would say we're both successful at the stages that we're currently working
at the point in our life.
Yeah.
I think for where we are in our life, obviously there's an age difference between us. Like I'm 29 and Lauren's 25. So I think you're probably doing a little bit better than me because you're younger.
But then also, I don't feel like you can necessarily even compare those because it sounds really obvious, but you're 29 in the same year that I'm 25. So our scenarios, we've gone through COVID, but at different times in our life and things like that. So they're not comparable by age because you're still in the same situation.
Same boat.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. And age really, it's not like you've got more years on the planet, but
it doesn't really make much difference.
Doesn't add to success, does it?
But I would say that you can't complete success because if you're doing that, you're never moving the goalposts for yourself, and I would get
you're
bored.
Never going to grow as a person.
Yeah,
I think success is a lot of it is down to what you're like as a person, how you treat other people around you, your outlook on life, and I think people can always be working on how they treat other people, especially in this job. Like I think never let your ego get too big in this industry. Like I think the most important thing is make sure your client's happy. And if they're not happy, they're going to go away and they're going to say, they made me feel uncomfortable. I felt like I couldn't say so and so. I felt like I got a tattoo that I didn't want to get. I was misled into having it. And we always will make sure that we can always tell if someone's a bit hesitant with a design, we're like, come on, talk to us. Tell us what you're not happy with.
What you need to change here.
We don't want to put something on someone that they're not happy with at the end of the day.
Yeah, I say that as well. I'm like...
Yeah, you can tell when they're like...
No, it's just that hesitation. You show them the design and there's a lack of hesitation. You're like, oh, fuck's sake. Yeah. But other times they look at it and go, sick.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, they're I love it.
Yeah. So it's just, and exactly, I'm not a mind reader, but we need to I want to understand what you want, because I want you to be happy with it, of course.
Yeah.
Talking about tattooing then, we'll get back onto that because I'm super nerdy and I always try and have a little section in these because I want to kind of find out how you guys go about creating these pieces. I want to know what equipment you're using, like needles and machines, all of that sort of stuff. And how you kind of construct these pieces. We spoke a little bit about the referencing and the inspiration for it, but are you all iPads? Are you kind of quite old school with it? Yeah,
so I think when I first started tattooing, iPads were not a thing. And doing mandalas on tracing paper is quite possibly the most single-handedly tedious thing I've ever done in my life.
I've done it.
The amount of grids I'd print out and then you trace a section and then you do the next.
Fold it and
Oh my God. And it's never perfect. And I think that always used to bug the hell out of me. I want it to look perfect. I want every single section to be pristine. So when iPads came out, oh my God.
Game changer.
Amaziograph was literally the godsend that everyone needed who done that style of tattooing. And maybe that's why it became so big because it was so easy to smash out mandalas. You could draw it in 10 minutes if you wanted to, depending on what it looks like. But we do use iPads now. I think we're all guilty of relying on them. I would love to do more actual drawing, pencil and paper, but I think where the demand is so high, you just don't have the time. But I mean, equipment wise, I'm using the Bishop wand.
Nice, big fan.
The liner and the packer.
Yeah,
I just think it's amazing.
The liner's powerful.
It's powerful.
It's good fun.
Yeah, it's so good. On my old machine, I think I used to run that on 8 or 9 to do lines. The Bishop wand, I run it on 4.5 to 5.5. And I'm like, oh my God, like this is, I remember when I first bought it, didn't I say to you, I was like, fuck,
Yeah, and
this
it's
is
still
powerful.
slapping it in. Yeah.
Like it feels like it's kind of like moving away. Like I had it up on the power that I used to run my old machine, and I was just like, I feel like it's literally like pushing away from the
pressure.
skin, where it's like just so powerful. And then, I recently got the packer as well, and I absolutely love it for like stippling and
Yeah, that's my
lip
go-to
shading.
because it's like it's perfect. It's soft enough for like.
Because the liner's not good for stippling, I don't think. I think it's too precise. It would look too liney.
Yeah.
But with that, you get that like nice peppery sort of, nice peppery stippling.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And what about
And
needles?
wireless. Needles. So I normally use Quadrant, but I've just gone over to Magic Main and I love them.
Yes.
They're so nice.
Magic Main are the one.
Yeah, they're lovely.
I've got one box, and you said earlier that they're great, so I'm like, okay.
They're so
And they're
consistent.
good value for money
They're good
as
value.
well.
They're sharp. They're consistent. There's no discrepancy
and
in the
they'll
pack.
last for like a whole tattoo.
Yeah.
Easy peasy.
Oh, I hate that when you like get halfway
it's-
through, or even like close to the end, and you're like, I physically can't use this cart anymore.
Yeah.
It's just
not worth
not
the
doing
stress.
anything,
I just
or
need
it
to
starts
get all that out.
rattling.
Oh, yeah.
So many shit ones out there that you'll put it
spring
in and
goes or something.
in your
Yeah.
machine, and you're like, oh God, sorry everyone,
Yeah,
that
yeah,
sounds really
yeah.
scary.
Yeah.
For my clients.
Yeah, we
sat
suddenly
there
thought there was a coil back in here or something.
But yeah.
Nice. So you got a pretty similar setup to what I use then. What about
Yeah.
you? And what about yourself?
I use the Bishop one liner. I still have one of the FK Irons Zion pens, and I would use that if I was going to stipple, but that's because I don't feel like a lot of my work has stippling in it anymore.
Okay.
I actually find if I'm going to put dot work or that sort of effect into my work, I will do actual dot work. So I'll just use the liner still. You've said loads about the packer, and I have considered it, but at the moment I'm just like really...
If you don't have a need for it, like, because I was using the Zion as well, and I was like, I love it for shading and stippling, and I put up a post and just so many artists were like, get the packer. And I got it and I love it.
Yeah, it's pretty banging.
Yeah.
Sponsors, either of you? Would you, anyone that you've got your eye on? Have you ever approached anyone?
No. I've never even really thought of approaching anyone.
No.
Like, I would say,
I think Butterlux would be a nice one. I use
you love
so
Butterlux.
much Butterlux stuff. So Butterlux, if you're listening.
There we go.
shout out. I would say I'm still working out favourite things. I can't lie, I absolutely love Whitfield's processed butter.
Yeah.
And I've said it
you
to
do
them.
like their processed butter.
Got a little
I'm
bit
gonna gra-
overwhelmed at Brighton about it.
He's at London as well, I think.
I mean, a studio sponsorship would be good as well.
Everyone loves it.
I'm trying to think, or like ink-wise, I think Panthera, their black ink is...
Is that what you use? Yeah.
Yeah, it's so hard to get hold of though. The one we've
It's
used
really hard to get rid
recently.
of the XXX.
Yeah, I don't know if it's
triple
called that, or
black
like
or
triple
something.
blacks or something.
Can't get hold of it.
Why?
gold dust.
It like disappeared for
They
about
just stopped
3
making
months.
it. Are
No,
you-
it came back again.
Yeah, fine. What about are you not a dynamic girls?
I use their grey washes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Cool.
their grey washes are nice.
Don't use dynamic.
But yeah, Panthera, black for lining.
Yeah, it's sick. Nice. Love
Much of
that.
it setup wise, isn't it?
But I think that's one, like you just said about the convention. I'd love to go and just be nosy at what everyone's
and
using.
just-
'Cause I feel like
yeah.
there's some stuff that we need to try out new. We did try, what was the, we got squeezy soap. We got the soap bottles. They smell good. What were they?
What are
We got, you know the bottles? We got like cherry flavour. Not flavour, because you don't drink it.
Oh, you want about like green soap?
Yes. Oh my God. But we
What
got
is
new
this?
ones of the green soap, didn't we? We got Parma Violet and
Oh,
recently.
Butterlux
Were they
stuff. Yeah.
Butterlux?
Yeah.
They were amazing, but it seemed to vanish. I don't know if
got
people
that,
were using too much, but it vanished in like
We got the
a
redness,
week.
that redness remover spray. That's pretty banging.
Yeah, we
Can't
got
remember
that.
the brand.
Can't remember the brand.
unfortunately. They
Oh,
were just
where'd
giving
you
out
get it from,
freebies
Killer?
at Brighton.
No, they gave them to us in Brighton.
At Brighton Convention, just
Like
someone
a
went
tattoo
round.
finish? Like a
It's
seal.
just meant to
It's in a
soothe
white
redness.
bottle,
Oh, nice.
blue and black label, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Oh,
and
I
we've
wish I could
actually
remember
found
who
it is fairly decent.
It's
Like, at
good.
the end, just helps really soothe
Just
things
settles
down.
it down. Yeah.
But other than that,
Hot topic at the moment. What is your opinion on like numbing creams and sprays?
we have a big opinion.
I'm quite strong with this.
Yeah, I feel people are one way or the other.
I've had a really bad experience with numbing cream. Numbing cream. So I'm like the biggest advocate for not using it.
Was it
I think.
knockoff?
I think so. I'm not sure because I had my knee tattooed a couple of years back and I had the line work done. I was like, I can't do it anymore. So I'd use numbing cream on it and it was just swelling and swelling and swelling. And I thought, oh, maybe it's just like, that's just what knee tattoos do. I don't know. And it was so uncomfortable. And then the next time that I got tattooed, I'd put cream on again and I'd wrapped it in cling film. And I'm guessing my leg had already started to swell just with the numbing cream on, because the cling film had burst and there was like a little hole and it had transferred to my other leg. And then I had a red patch on my other leg.
Oh, it had
so
like
I was like,
spat
it
out.
had like kind of come out, yeah. So I was like, oh, I think it's the numbing cream. But I'm like just waiting to be tattooed. So I was like, I'm just going to have to get tattooed. So we only done the leaves. And I have never experienced pain like it, like not being tattooed, but after I had to keep my leg elevated for 2 weeks. So I'm tattooing like with my leg up on a stool because it was throbbing. So I should have probably gone to the doctors about it. But I just thought, it's fine. It's just a knee tattoo. I'm okay. And then my last session, I didn't use it at all. And honestly, it was fine. So I was like, okay, it's numbing cream. And 3 years later, every time I go in the sun, if I get any kind of sunburn, it's like, I think what's kind of I've spoken to quite a few like medical, like people in medical fields about this. And what they think has happened is like molecules from the cream have basically attached to the ink molecules in my tattoo. So whenever I get sunburn, I have a histamine reaction and the leaves, they literally like puff up like the exact shape of the leaves and I have to elevate my leg again.
Kind of like an embossed business card.
Yeah.
Like,
that's
that's
but
weird.
it's not like just
but it's
the lines.
not like...
You find that sometimes it can happen when there's like your skin's really dry or like it's humid.
Yeah, but it's so much worse and it's painful. Like it hurts. No. And I've had a client who had a very bad reaction to numbing cream. She didn't tell me she was wearing it, and that's no fault of her own. But yeah, she came in and I took the cling film off, and her pores were like so open, like craters. Her skin was like all textured, and I was like, I don't really like the look of this. And she went so faint, didn't she?
Yeah, she didn't have a good time.
And she nearly passed out, and I was just like, I can't tattoo you today. And she said over the next 24 hours, like her arm was swollen. It went like pink, purple, and she had a really bad reaction as well. So I just think it's knockoff creams. I think people aren't educated on, like, the only cream that you can legally buy numbing wise in the UK is Emla.
Yeah, but Emla does fuck all.
It doesn't do anything.
We all know it does
it's not
nothing.
Good enough.
It's not deep enough.
But legally, it's the only one that is actually approved by the FDA.
Yeah.
All the others, no matter how big of a following they have on Instagram, no matter how many people are using it, it's not legit and it's not controlled. And you're putting that on your body, and then a needle is going over it and kind of pushing that into your skin. Yeah. Like, I have issues 3 years later, and I don't know if I'm going to have this for the rest of my life. Every time I go in the sun, I'm going to have to elevate my leg if I get a bit of sunburn. And I've had quite a few messages from people saying they've had the exact same thing happen.
Yeah.
So it's quite scary.
And I don't think it's worth it.
It's not.
Like, I've used numbing cream once and it wore off within, the tattoo only took about an hour and it wore off within that time. And I literally just remember thinking, like, but part of getting a tattoo, and I'm not saying it in the sense of like, you should feel the pain.
It should hurt.
It should hurt. Like,
but our bodies are designed to, like, we create our own numbing anyway.
Yeah,
you need
that adrenaline to kick in. And if it's not kicking in, as soon as that numbing cream wears off, it's kicking in and it's going to hurt.
And work out your own limits. Like, I have a client who has slowly worked herself up from the first tattoo I ever did for her. She did use a little bit of numbing cream and it was only like a couple of inches big. And then we did another one and she did it without numbing cream. And she has slowly worked herself up, and now she's booked in later this year for a piece that usually I'd book a day session, but she's going to do 2-3 hour sittings. And she just knows her limits and she has pushed herself to that. And I'm literally like, and that's go on, that's great.
I think
that's perfect.
I think that's just reminded me of something else I wanted to kind of talk about, is the kind of unrealistic expectation of the amount of hours that people sit for now. It's kind of paraded online, like these insanely long sessions that are like 10, 12 hours long. And it's like, and then people feel like that they have to sit for that long. When, like, I don't like sitting any longer than 3-4 hours. I hate it. But I think a lot of people now feel like that's like the standard at which you have to sit for. Like, people that don't have many tattoos that are like newbies to it, and they see these like 12-hour sittings and they're like, fuck, I don't think I can do that.
Yeah.
When there's methods to help with that.
Like, I wouldn't want to do it. Like, yeah, I mean, I went back. I went to Tyler to have my leg done. I was going like once a week for like 6 weeks in a row. That was enough. Like, I don't want to. I've done one time. I've done like a few days back to back, And it's like I could do 2 days back to back if I had to, like if I was traveling abroad or something.
Yeah.
Takes its toll though, doesn't it?
Yeah, but like it's not. I mean, it is impressive, but like if there's other ways to do it, then
I think if you're traveling somewhere, like try and do the 2 days if you can.
Yeah.
But it's so hard. Like I've had clients do 2 days in a row, and the second day they just feel defeated from the get go, and I just think it's not a very nice experience for everyone. Like.
It doesn't need to be that experience. Like,
No.
And I've got clients as well that I think, I want to tattoo you. I like you. And I can see you want these pieces. And it's whatever makes it more doable for you.
Yeah.
And if that means that we split these sessions up,
Do
we
smaller ones.
give you more options and stuff, then that's how the piece is going to end up best. Rather than you coming in, leaving thinking, oh my God, I feel like crap. And I don't ever want to go back. And then you've got that lasting thought in your head of like, I feel really rubbish. And then the weeks of it healing as well. If you've done your body's ability to deal with pain,
heal as well.
you're not going to heal as well.
Yeah, no way. But there's so many different factors to healing that people just don't don't like think about, you know, like the amount of sleep you're getting, your diet, how hydrated you are.
Yeah.
And it is a collaboration between the artist and the
Especially if you're paying that much money for a tattoo.
But like, look after it. And well, they won't bother, like, and then I get some clients who then won't spend the money on the aftercare, and I'm thinking like, really?
It's like
that's a massive part of it.
£3 or £4 for
exactly.
some cream.
I know.
I think men are terrible at looking after tattoos. I am going to say
I'm
that.
terrible. I'll say that now.
Men are just like, oh yeah, I'll just shove some cream on it. It'll be all right.
Yeah.
It's
And 3 days later, you're like,
come
oh, I've
on.
had it 2 weeks. It's like, no, you haven't. It's still literally weeping.
But that's just looking after skin. Like, how many men actually probably moisturise compared to women? Do you know what I mean?
Oh yeah, probably such a
That's a whole other problem.
Yeah, my girlfriend is like, she's on it with skincare, and I'm like,
good on her.
now I moisturise, but I never used to. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, big advocate for it.
Yeah.
No, it's been cool, man. I've really enjoyed the chat. It's been great. What I want to do then, we'll just tie it up, and always try and get you to maybe tell me about one of your pieces that you've got on you, which is your most meaningful.
Okay.
And also one of your most favourite recent pieces that you've done as well.
Oh, you go first.
Oh.
Haha.
Oh God.
I can see you've got a lot of different styles from that.
I'm a bit of a mishmash of stuff.
Yeah. Have you got one that's like particularly meaningful, or are they kind of mainly all artistic?
So I would say probably my first tattoo was like a couple of dates that are meaningful to me, just Roman numerals. Basic. But I would say probably the most meaningful one to me is just my little Mario mushroom.
Yeah, saw that.
Yeah, that was for my brother. Because he's disabled and brain damaged at birth, so he's autistic as well. And he used to play the Game Boy upside down, which is like incredible. I don't know how he used to do it, but yeah, he used to play it upside down, playing like Mario. And me and my mum both have it, so I think that's like one of my favourite ones that I've got, like most meaningful one.
Yeah, I love that.
I'm trying to think one I've done recently that I love. I mean, I've done 2 matching shin pieces that I love recently.
Again, I'll post this on.
I think it's just nice when clients just trust you with what you've come up with and just let you just do your thing. Yeah, and I love it. They're a bit more bold. It's like a nice change because a lot of my clients want quite like dainty, delicate work, but I like bold stuff. Like it just looks so much nicer over time.
Satisfying as well.
Yeah, it's so stand out from a distance as well. If you can see a tattoo for what it is from far away, like you know it's going to look cool for like a long time. So yeah, I would say them.
Nice.
Good answers.
Thanks.
I don't really have any meanings for any tattoos, to be honest. There's one tattoo I have that I've like kind of given a meaning, but then like I would say, and literally no one knows that I have this for this reason, probably other than the girl who did it, but I've just literally got some little crosses on one of my little middle fingers. And I chose those originally because I wanted something for my nan, and she would never ever tell me like an idea to get. If I was like, choose a tattoo for me, she'd be like, oh no.
Just not a fan of tattoos at all.
Oh, she'll like grab my arm and be like, wow, and then 5 minutes later be like, oh, what have you done? Like she just chops and changes. But she always used to I used to do cross stitch with her, so I just got some little crosses on my finger, but literally no one had any idea that was for her. I've not even told her. I've not even told her because I know she'd be like, why on earth have you done that? But other than that, like, I really love my throat one. That was like, that was a birthday present to myself one year. I just felt like I'd reached a point where I think I saw it as like, if you get that done, there's no going back from being a tattoo artist in a way. And
Did you have that before Tyler had done your?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
So that
the only thing I had on a show really was like from early on was my little heart on my earlobe.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And then you've had the ones on the backs of your ears done recently, haven't you?
They were really recent. But this for me was kind of like, I really thought about it. I knew I wanted it. I was really afraid to at first tell my dad because I knew he'd just see it as like a throat tattoo. It's got to be really big and bold and scary.
Oh my God, I got like my parents were not happy when I got my neck done.
Really?
Yeah.
What was your first one on your neck?
So the first one I got was the cherub. Is that side?
Nice. Yeah.
Forget what side. Forget what side.
What side is it?
Yeah, that was. I had Luke Wrigley do that one.
I love that.
That's really nice.
cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. And then I had this one done a little bit more recently.
Yeah.
But like, I'd had quite a lot of tattoos by that point,
Yeah.
obviously.
So it wasn't as much of a
Yeah, but like I was the same. I was like, I know at this point now that I'm only ever going to do this.
Yeah.
Even if I'm shit at it, I don't want to do anything else.
Yeah.
And even if you stopped in the future, you can be like, that was a big part of my life. So
Yeah, like
Yeah.
it's now got to that bit where that was a huge part of me for that part of my life.
Yeah, I feel like we're
So-
quite similar with what we did there, like, because I felt the same way. It's like, right, that's like a bookmark. And I felt like I've done that with a
Yes.
few of my pieces. It's like, I got this shittest. I went to Surrey Uni and I got the Surrey stag on my ribs.
Oh, God.
And me and two others
lovely.
got it after we finished first year.
No.
I've had it covered now.
Oh.
It was horrendous. But like I try and do that every time I've kind of like something's happened in my life at certain
Yeah.
stages. I'll get one and mark it.
Yeah.
You know?
Because then you can look back at it and be like, oh, that was when I was doing that in
Yeah.
that point of my life. And
Yeah.
I think it's nice to have memories attached to them.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
the good thing about tattoos, which people who you either get it or you don't,
Yeah.
and like people go, "Why the fuck have you got that?" And it's like,
Because I wanted it.
yeah,
Yeah.
so
Looks cool.
you can hang art on a wall. It's like I've just got it on myself instead.
Yeah.
definitely.
And on me, in a way, I'm showing that I love it more than anything I could put on a wall because I
Yeah.
literally want to carry it with me.
Forever.
Yeah. And don't get me wrong, there's ones that I have that I'm having removed or like there's ones that I'm
same.
going to have covered and stuff like that. But it's never that I'm not going to act like they never existed. Like I know they were
You'll
there.
know that they were there once you've had something
Yeah.
done. Like I've had removal on this arm and I'm still going through it.
Yeah.
And I know that when I look at the new tattoo that's there, I'm going to be like, oh, like that used to be there.
Yeah.
But now I'm at a different stage in my life and I'm having this new thing done over it.
Because anyone that chooses to get a cover up, you're not in any way trying to say that didn't exist because otherwise you wouldn't describe it as a cover up.
No, you wouldn't.
When I have the cover up on my thigh that I'm waiting to slowly get removed and then have that, I will still describe it as a cover up and the story will still probably get told to those who ask.
Yeah.
So if I wanted to pretend it didn't exist and that moment of my life didn't happen, I wouldn't even mention it's a cover up. You'd just be
Yeah.
like, oh, I have this on my thigh. I got it then.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
it shows that they're all parts of your life that are still going to stay with you, whether you get it lasered off, which is awful. But whether you go through that or not, you're still going to keep it with you.
Yeah, and only you know. It's the same like you said about your fingers.
Yeah.
Favorite recent piece?
I feel like I've enjoyed quite a few recently, actually. It wasn't even that recent, it was quite a while ago, but I did like a really bold ornamental
the
chess
chest
piece.
piece. Yeah,
And
that was
she was
lovely.
really cool. Like she
was
again,
lovely.
just gave me the
Yeah.
whole, she went, I like this that you've done before. Do you want to turn that sort of idea into a chess piece? And I thought that was really fun.
Nice. It's like stars align. You get the best customer on the best day with the best idea, and it's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
And we watched loads of films that day and I remember that
Yeah,
day. It was great.
I remember that day as well. It wasn't even my client.
It was
which
a good day.
Which shows like the impact that other people's clients can have on us as well.
Yeah.
It's so nice. Like I love when all of our clients chat together, which some studios don't really have that. Like I've been tattooed at some studios where you are completely like secluded.
You're
You're
like
with
over
your
there
eyes
and
and
that's
no
it.
one talks to
Yeah.
each other and
yeah, it's not a good vibe at all.
No.
You want to kind of feel welcomed by everyone.
And that's what that comes back to, that comfortability and having that real homely environment
Yeah,
where people
definitely.
instantly feel at ease.
Yeah.
Yeah, sick. So the only other thing is get you to leave a question for the next guest.
Do you want to say it?
Have you
I
thought
do
of
it?
one? Have you
We
got
have.
one?
Yeah, we have. So our question was, what is the best tip or trick that you've learned through your tattooing career, or just like one thing that you've learned that has made your job a lot easier or more fun to do?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Has
nice.
like elevated your job for you, whether it's because it's made it easier and quicker or improved a stage of it, or you just think ever since doing that,
You just think, wow, how the hell did I not know this before?
Yeah.
Love that. That's a good one. I've not had that one either.
Yes.
Smashed it. Girls, it's been so good. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming.
Yeah.
And congratulations on over a year now. But
yeah.
And long way to continue. Really cool.
Thank you.
It's been good fun.
Thank you
Thanks
so
again.
much.
I loved it.
Thanks for listening. I hope you've enjoyed the podcast this week. Don't forget to hit the bell icon and the follow button to be notified of every new release wherever you listen to your podcasts. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button on YouTube as well. I'm Alex Lloyd, and this is the 21st Century Tattoo. Thanks for listening.